This time I created a video. I put the angle right. I don't like that. I like it to be even. Oh, I don't think that's even either. Well, I fixed the camera, I'm going to tell you. Today was like winter out there. It actually snowed. Believe that shit? Can't you just stand up? See, it's still not right. Can't tell until I... That should be good, I think. Oh. Coat's on because I'm not putting on a bra. So I'm tired, although in all fairness it doesn't really happen that often, but it doesn't matter. This is my place to vent. I am tired of encountering smart-mouthed people in grocery stores. I already told you about that guy last week. Okay? Now, I want to preface what I am about to say with, first of all, you guys already know I'm not young, okay? I'm nearly 50, so I've been around, okay? I've been going to grocery stores my whole life, and I cannot tell you, and I'm sure you guys will mirror my sentiments, but maybe you do it, I never do. It's wrong, and it's annoying to other people, but I cannot tell you how many times I've gone to an express lane in a grocery store, okay, where it's 12 items or less, 15 items or less, or whatever, right? And somebody accidentally on purpose is in that express lane with a shitload of items, 30, 40, one time it was a whole cart full. And the cashier is too timid to say, look, one time, only once in my life did I hear somebody tell someone, you have too many items, you need to go, even though they put them up on, you have too many items, but the cashiers never do. They just take the person and say nothing, okay? And I don't generally, there's no point by then. I've said something to someone before, but by then the cashier's ringing them up, so really what's the point? Okay? But I don't say it like cruelly or whatever, because people will pretend they don't know it's an express lane, or they really just don't pay attention. Okay? It's one or the other. I think people just go to the express. I think they do it intentionally, but some people do it accidentally. Okay? But I always pay attention. Okay? I know damn well if I'm in an express lane or not. Alright? And if people don't pay attention, I have a feeling they're doing it on purpose. Seriously. Okay? Why not? Why do they want to go with their whole whole cart full of items to long lines when they can go to the empty express lane, right? They're doing it on purpose. They'll pretend they're not if someone like me points it out. But a lot of times I don't even say anything. I say something to the cashier after the person has already left. Because I'll say, you know, what? You know, that person had a whole, like, 50, 60, whatever, it had a shitload, tons of items. Why'd you take them? You know. The reason I am pointing this out is because I go out of my way to make sure, I actually count my items. Have I ever been a couple items over? Yes, most people have. Okay. But not to the degree I've seen some people. Because and the cashier doesn't turn them away. See? So the express lane itself, yeah, it's nice to have an express lane, but Do you know how many times I've gone to an express lane in a grocery store? I'm sure you guys will back me up here, okay? I'm sure it's happened to all of you watching my videos, okay? Where it's not express, alright? Sure, someone can have the proper amount of items, but something else can happen. They might have a shitload of, they might have a ton of coupons. They might have a problem order where something, someone has to go and make sure, because they'll say, oh, it rang up wrong or something. All kinds of things. They might have a problem with their chip card, okay? They might have, one time I went to the express lane, I thought it was going to go fast, but it was someone with WIC, with the cards, with the whatever, they take forever, right? Those check things, separate orders, and, okay? You're not guaranteed to get out fast going to an express lane, period. And never have I walked into a grocery store, and I mean, I've stood in an express lane a long time with one item in my hand, right? Because for whatever reason, a lot of times I don't like to go to the self-checkout either. Sometimes I've been in stores there was no self-checkout as well. Right? So wait till you hear what happened following on the heels of last weekend. Okay, this weekend my mom came again. Right? Last time I went to the grocery store, I was wondering why everything was so heavy. It was actually hurting me. And I realized that I had a shitload of change in my purse. My purse was weighed down with change, a lot of change, okay? But since then, I've forgotten to use the change, okay? So, I decided to buy some items that I technically did not have to have. They were not life or death items, okay? Could have made do without them. Just to use the change. Okay? It was way less than 12 items. I went to the express lane, okay? There was no one behind me at first, alright? But I want to point out, first of all, there have been so many times in my life I've gone to the express lane and it wasn't express, okay? There's so many times I've gone to the express lane with the cashiers, which they should not do. That's why people get away with it. They should turn people away if they see you with that many items. I had one cashier a long time ago who was a stickler, and I couldn't believe it. I believe it was a guy, and the person had already put their items on the thing, and he made them put them back in the cart and go somewhere else. But the cashier, most of them just take them. They're just timid, and they take them, and they don't say a word. Okay? I don't ever do that. I never, ever go to an express lane with more than the amount of items, unless it's just like a couple over. So that's some small thing, okay? And you can be excused for that because you could count wrong. I count my items, and I don't go to the express lane, even if it's wide open, okay? But I know people who do it all the time. I've been behind people who do it, and then they pretend they didn't know, and I don't believe them a lot of the times, but whatever, okay? The cashier's at fault because the cashier takes the person. The cashier shouldn't take the person who's rude enough to go to express lane. Last time, she had like a whole cart full. She had like 100 items, okay? And then she said I'm sorry, I did it when I was, I don't know if I said anything directly to her. I might have been sighing, I don't know, but whatever. But, oh, I didn't know. Yeah, I don't believe you. I think you're full of shit, okay? But whatever, I don't do shit like that ever, okay? Express lane refers to number of items only, not to form of payment, okay? I can pay in fucking pennies if I want to. I'm not going to. But you know what? If there was somebody paying in pennies and dimes and nickels, I wouldn't say one word to them. And you want to know why? Because there have been times in my life where I would not have been able to buy the food I wanted at the time had I not paid in change and pissed off the person in back of me or whatever, because I'm paying in change. I'm committing that crime, okay? The fact is, you don't know anybody's situation. You have no right to say anything to anybody about the form of payment they use. If they go to an express lane with more than the number of items, go to town. Say anything you want to them. You do have a right to do that because they're breaking the thing. They're supposed to not have more than 12 or 15 items, whatever the sign says, okay? I've been to express lanes before where it says cash only as well. But still, if it's cash, you can pay in change. We have a right to pay in change. Period. End of discussion, okay? It's money. Tough luck if you don't like if someone's paying in change. You don't know their situation. Was that the situation with me a couple days ago? No. The situation was I was weighed down with that change and I'd forgotten to use it the last time I was at the grocery store. I wanted to fucking get rid of it, period. Okay? I have the right to do that. Even if I piss off the person or people behind me. Okay? There are so many times Express has not been Express. And I'd sit there and I'm like, alright, well this sucks, but you know, I don't go to a grocery store expected to get out like that. Even in the express lane, it just doesn't happen. Something always happens. I always pick the wrong line too. Always, okay? Express or not, I always pick the wrong line. And I make a joke out of it because it is a joke, right? I'm tired of people with smart mouths at grocery stores. I really am. Tired of it. Tired of it. Alright? The bitch behind me, first of all, I wasn't paying in nickels and dimes and pennies, okay? I paid mostly in quarters. I also had the change in my hand, and I paid mostly in quarters, which goes pretty damn fast. Again, there are so many things that can happen in a grocery store. So many times there's been problems with my chip card, with these new chip cards. There's been problems with other people's chip cards. You just have to suck it up. You just have to accept it, you know. You say, well, that's not someone's fault. Yeah. And it's someone's fault if they pay in change? Not necessarily. Was it my fault the other day that this woman had to wait behind me and she had to make a smart comment? She's like, you know, this is express lane. I go, express lane refers to number of items, not form of payment. I barely acknowledged her existence, but I was seething. And I said to the cashier, and she was too timid to say anything. She knows I'm right. I have every right to pay in change. Again, it's not taking a million hours. It's in my hand. It's mostly quarters. It was like, the bill was, what was the bill? The bill was $11.87. And I wound up not having enough change, and then I had to do I did the rest on my credit card, but that took 2 seconds, okay? Literally, it did. The change took a little bit of time, but again, I've been behind elderly people that just take forever to do anything, even to get stuff out of their purse. I've been, you know, I had the change in my hand, and I had to count it. I counted it out. 4 quarters, 4 quarters, 4 quarters. Okay? In the end, it was almost all quarters, actually. It wasn't much in not quarters, maybe a couple dollars. That's it. That was nickels and dimes. Not pennies, but nickels and dimes. But, you know, it didn't take that long. People are too damn fucking impatient, okay? I'm tired of impatient people too, okay? Especially even impatient people who are going to run over me and my elderly mom because she's not walking fast enough. I'm tired of it, okay? I screamed at the car because nowadays you scream at a car and they could turn around and shoot you. Sick motherfucking people, alright? My mom and I are crossing. This was after this shit with that bitch. I was mad. I could have said so much more because the thing that makes me angry, you should never, people. And I was going to go back and say something some other time. I don't remember the cashier, but she's young. I was going to be like, you know, you're young, but I just want you to know it wasn't the case this last time, but there have been times in my life where I wouldn't have been able to buy groceries unless I paid with change, okay? nobody should ever say anything to anybody about the form of payment they used to pay in a grocery store. It's rude. It's obnoxious. You can really hurt someone's feelings, okay? Maybe that's all the money they have. Because there have been times in my life when that was all the money I had. At that moment, if I wanted to buy the food I wanted to buy, I had to use change, okay? It's not a fucking crime to use change in a store, in a grocery store, okay? Anyway, she made a little smart comment, and I said very, like, I was seething when she said it, okay? I was seething. There have been times, again, me and other people, we've held up lines because we thought we knew where our form of payment was, say a credit card, and we couldn't find it in our purse. We said, oh, you cannot go into a grocery store and expect to get out like that. Something always happens with somebody or with you, okay? The little bitch had to say that to me. You know, this is an express lane. She wasn't some young kid either. You know, this is express lane. I barely looked at her. I didn't look in her eyes. I just said to her, I know she heard me, though. Because then she said something, I didn't even hear it. I didn't even acknowledge her stupid bitchy ass. Because the thing is, I know you don't ever say anything to anybody about the form of payment they use in a grocery store. There are people on welfare who have to use those things that take forever, those checks. You know, they're those WIC checks, I guess they are. And those take forever. They always take forever. Okay? Do I cringe inside when I get behind someone like that? Yes. But that's life. Okay? If it's not that, it could be someone else. It could be someone looking for change or digging for change or doesn't have enough money and has to, you know what I mean? Anything could be the case. With me, I just didn't want that change. I had a whole bunch of groceries to carry. I didn't want to be weighed down with the change, okay? I had gone somewhere else before, you know, meeting my mom, okay? So then, when my mom and I are, so I was pissed off at that, okay? You have a right to say things to people about other stuff, but not about the form of payment they use in a grocery store. You don't know their situation, okay? You're just a fucking bitch, that's all. Piss me off. I'm tired of smart-ass people in grocery stores. Last week was that guy, okay? This week's a little bitch who's so impatient. And again, I just know how many times in my life I've gone to express lanes and the cashier has taken somebody who had a ton of items. Never have I done that once. Never. Not accidentally, not on purpose. I always look and see what kind of lane I'm going to. And that's why I believe that the people who say that they can't when they're accidentally are lying. I do think they're lying. Because you're supposed to look to make sure. I just don't think they're telling the truth. But whatever. I can't prove it, and they know they'll get away with it. The cashier doesn't even say, the cashier should at least say to them, you know, this is an express lane. They don't even say that. They're so fucking timid. It's ridiculous. But again, I put up with all that shit and don't say anything. I have to have this little bitch get upset because I'm paying in change, mostly fucking quarters. Alright? Mostly quarters. I had a dollar bill, and it was almost all quarters. Alright? The fact is, she's a fucking bitch, that's all. And then, my mom and I are walking home, we're crossing a parking lot, and the person making the left-hand turn can see that my mom's walking slow, and instead of waiting for us, which is the polite thing to do, turns right in front of us while we're there in the middle. Tell me that's not a fucking asshole. It was two guys, actually. I don't know how old they were. I don't think they were super, but they know I was upset. I yelled. I said, you fucking assholes. They knew I was upset. You can't wait for my elderly mom to cross because you're so impatient. Everyone's so impatient nowadays. No. We're in the middle. It's one thing if we hadn't started going yet and you turn. We were in the middle, okay, of a parking lot that goes this direction, you know what I mean? And we're in the middle. And the one making the left-hand turn from the main road has to not let us go. Because they could see when they were waiting to make the turn that to them, we're walking too slow. And they're not going to wait, but assholes. I let them know they were assholes. I know that's dangerous to do nowadays. I yelled at some car before, and the guy turned around. I mean, turned his car around. He's like, "Did you say something to me?" I'm like, "Yeah." This was a case back in California where I have a right to cross when the little walk guy comes up, and people are making right-hand turns on red, which they have a right to do. But it's legal to do that if it says you can make, but it's not. You're supposed to let the person who's crossing in with the right of way, and they don't. And one car went, and you know what I mean? So yeah, I used to constantly yell at cars about that. And one time a guy got pissed at me, and he like, turned his car around. "Did you say something to me?" "Yeah, I did. I did. You don't even let me cross when I have the crosswalk, and you know, well, if I have to stand there too long." It used to happen when I was with Omar too. I have to stand there too long. You have to understand. You assholes in cars are supposed to let pedestrians cross when they have the walk sign. Just because you're allowed to make your right-hand turn on red doesn't mean you do it. And if I have to wait there for that long because one car after another follows the other, I wind up going another whole cycle where it's not the walk guy anymore. You know, is that right? No, it's not. It's not. I have a right to fucking get upset. That woman had no right to say she's a fucking bitch, okay? The fact is, I wait in grocery store express lanes all the time. It's not necessarily express. And nobody goes to that thinking, well, I need to make sure I am super. No, you just have to know that you don't have the excessive amount of items. If you have the proper amount of items, everything else is just up to chance or whatever, okay? I'm sure I'm not the first person in history to pay and change an express lane. Again, it was almost all quarters. It's not like I paid $10 in all nickels, dimes, and pennies. It was almost all quarters. People could pay in quarters, okay? It was weighing down my fucking purse. I couldn't stand it. I don't know where all that change came from. It's not like I purchased any rolls of quarters. I don't know where it came from. It doesn't matter. It had built up. I couldn't stand it. I forgot to use it the last time I was at the grocery store, and I wanted to get rid of it, period. And I actually bought stuff in there that I didn't need because I'd already gone somewhere else. I bought stuff just to get rid of the change, and then I have to have that woman make the smart-ass comment. And then walking home, I had to deal with these assholes who can't wait for me because in their eyes, my elderly mom is walking too slow. They have to fucking cross in front of us, turn in front of us instead of politely letting us go when we're in the middle. Again, if we're not in the middle, it's one thing. You don't have to, but we were in the middle of crossing the parking lot, and you're on the main road. You're supposed to wait for us to finish, not cross in front of us, you motherfuckers. Shit like that pisses me off. And the thing with the change, yes, but you can really hurt someone's feelings or insult somebody, because there have been times in my life where I had to pay and change. I didn't have a choice. It's all the money I had at that time. Okay? You don't know someone's situation. You should never say anything to anybody if they're paying and change in the grocery store. You don't know why they're doing it. Okay? You don't know why they're doing it. Did I have to do it? No. But tough shit, I have a right to do it. You know what I mean? And for the record, it's not like I did it and there were 10 people behind me and long lines, you know what I mean? It was just her, this one little bitch who was pissed that I paid and change. So. And actually, I had so few items. I always forget when I have that few items. You're allowed to go to, if you just have a few items. I didn't have that many items. I had... See, how did they come to that much? Because I had candy that was organic candy that was almost $2 a pop, so there's $4 right there. I had cereal that was $4, that's $8, so you're already up to, that's how it came to that much. But it was so few items, I could have actually gone to the service desk. I always forget I can go to the service desk. But I was the first person in line there. And then that woman came, and then she's pissed that she wasn't out in 2 seconds, Because I had committed the crime of paying in mostly quarters a $12 bill. In the end, I had so much fucking change, I thought I'd have enough to pay, and I didn't. But by then, we'd already counted it out. I wasn't going to say, oh, forget it, and I'll put it all on my credit card. That would be ridiculous. I just paid in change, and then I paid the remainder on my credit card. She probably pissed that woman off even more, because she thought, oh, she could have used credit card. You don't know if I can use credit card either. For all you know, I don't have that much money on my credit card, okay? You don't know my situation. You don't know anybody's situation. You can get upset if someone has too many items, but you should never, ever in a million years say anything to anybody about the form of payment they use in a grocery store. You don't know their situation. You don't know that that's not the only money they have. Alright? There are a lot of poor people. Anyway. That's my spiel. It's my venting. I got my DVD player set up. I surprised my mama. We watched West Side Story. I'd seen it, but I'd forgotten some of it. Maybe I was drunk when I watched it, because I watched it at Donald's. Hope had it, and because there's parts that I didn't remember, but I did remember a lot of it. So you never know. When I was with Donald, I drank on a regular basis, not every day, but I watched movies. There could be movies that I've seen it, but I don't remember it all because I was drunk at the time. I don't know. Normally I would remember shit. And then from the library I got, from my mom, not really from me, but I'll watch it with her, the very first and second season of Roseanne and of The Middle. My mom loves The Middle, and she says she loves Roseanne as well. And it's kind of interesting because I'm watching the new Roseanne. It's 30 years after this first. We watched just a couple episodes in the first season. Roseanne and Dan, their characters, but them in real life obviously were way heavier than they are now. Both of them lost a shitload of weight. So I haven't talked to Joe. I had texted him, if you want to talk, call me on my home phone, but he didn't, so he could be going through his own shit. A friend around here, not a friend, but a guy that everybody loved. I told you guys about him years ago. Years ago I talked about him. The nicest fucking guy. Elderly, in his 70s, and walks miles a day and in great shape, and I did not know he was sick in ways that I just didn't know. I found out last minute that he had died, and I started crying. I was all upset. And, my friend down the street, I'm like, well, this is an emergency. I found out that, I said, could you drive me the way? Could you save my friend? And did you know? No. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I know. I didn't know who you were talking about. Everyone knew him. He was the nicest guy. I was sad. It just turned out he was sick in ways that I was not aware of. Which maybe that's a good thing. Because how would I know he was sick? Why would I think? That's why when I got there, it's like I said to his wife, I thought he'd live to be 100. How did he die? And then I hear, oh my God, I didn't know that. But how would I? How would I? I mean, if he's not going to tell me, oh, I'm sick, then I see him walking miles a day and in fantastic shape for someone his age and so friendly. And why would I think he was sick? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. So I'm kind of glad I didn't know, because then it was just, him, and he's easily, and his family, even though they don't know me, and his kids don't know me, but they thanked me, and I'm like, I'm being sincere. He was easily one of the nicest people I ever encountered in my life, and I found out he's always like that, and even when he was younger. So his family, I told him, you were blessed. You were blessed because I come from an abusive, dysfunctional background. You know, alcoholism, mental illness, and abuse, and the whole 9 yards. So, you know, you were blessed. And just the nicest guy. I'm sorry, he's just the nicest guy. And the thing is, there were times I was fucking falling apart. Okay? And along he'd come with his big smile, and you'd see him walk in rain or shine. And no, he was someone I thought, I didn't know he was sick, so he's someone I thought I'd live to be 100, you know. You're not going to know someone's sick if nobody tells you they're sick. And they're always super friendly, and they're so nice. I know him for years. I moved in here in 12. I met him through walking Omar. So if I moved in here, I probably didn't meet him immediately in November of 12, because it was winter, and I probably wasn't walking Omar yet. So I'd say I probably met him in the beginning, after the winter, after 2013, you know, that spring. So it's a long time. I've known him 5 years. 5 years. Wanted to go to the wake. You know. I found out where it was. I could have walked, but my friend drove me. So nice. I texted her and said, thank you so much for driving me there. He was sick. I just didn't know it. I've known him for 5 years, and I was crying. I was like, I asked his wife, I was like, has he always been like that? She's like, oh yeah, it's not an act. Oh, I'm like, no, I wasn't thinking it was an act. I'm thinking maybe he wasn't like that when he was younger and then became that as he got older. She's like, no, he's always like that. Like, you were blessed. Easily one of the nicest people I ever encountered in my life. Always smiling, always friendly, kind, just so complimentary, you know. I was going to call Joe last night, and then after all that, I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like talking to Joe. It's an unexpected thing. Got home here, and I found out about that, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't even know. See, he died peacefully in his sleep, so that's like the best way to go, right? Of course, anything in the back of my mind when someone, you know, he wasn't like in 90 or 100, so someone I worry about my mom constantly, of course. I worry about that friend. I found out she was older than I didn't know. She's older than my mom. Like, I didn't know that. Did not know that. Now my mom just found out that her one of her long-time friends, she's known me a very, very long time, has cancer. The older you get, you know, the more people around you are going to be getting sick and dying, you know. I asked my mom how serious it was. I also said, the woman, when you're diagnosed with cancer, you should get a second opinion, because there are false diagnoses of cancer. She said I can't trust my mom. What my mom says, though. She could be remembering wrong. Plus, when my aunt when I was in LA, and my aunt, you know, who I had the falling out with, then when she was dying, you know, we made amends. Because everything went out the window, and all I did was remember how much I'd always loved her and how she'd been there for me before we had the falling out, you know. That was the good aunt. Anyway, when my mom called me in LA, I had said that I was doing videos right then, so that was and said that my aunt had pancreatic cancer, but my mom didn't tell me the seriousness of it. It was only how much later, over a year later, when I was here, that I found out my aunt had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic. First of all, I didn't know how serious pancreatic cancer was until I looked it up. Very few people survive that, okay? It's a very aggressive cancer. And to be diagnosed right off the bat with stage 4, I mean, the fact that my aunt lingered on for a year and a half is a tribute to her. Just, she had the will to live, and she had family desperate to have her live, so. And she got to do some things on her bucket list before she eventually kicked the bucket, so. But it wasn't easy. She was, every time I turned around with she was having stents, and she was having, she was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and she survived a year and a half before succumbing to the disease that was eating her up alive. I don't know if my mom's right about this being, just the beginning stages, but even people diagnosed, I think, with beginning stages of cancer, it's not necessarily that, sometimes it gets worse. It doesn't go away, or it spreads to other areas. That, I can't really trust info my mom gives me, so my mom gets it wrong sometimes. She definitely got it wrong with my aunt. I think my mom was just in denial. That's why when I was here, I had to hear my mom crying and saying to me, as I've said out here periodically, I don't understand why God, didn't save her. This is when she was still alive, but my mom was finally coming to terms with the fact that she was probably going to die. This was her, her beloved to her sister, one she'd been so close to, as had I, at certain times in my life. And my mom had always just worshipped the ground this sister walked on, so it was a huge blow when she died. And my mom was in denial. My mom was crying to me, I don't understand why God doesn't save her. No. This life doesn't work that way, even for Christians. If it did, that pastor's wife that we heard about a couple of years ago, whenever it was brutally, was murdered in her own home. She was a Christian, that wouldn't happen. That was a robbery gone wrong or something, but whatever. The fact is, she was murdered. Can't think while you're being murdered or while you're dying of a disease, well, I'm a Christian, why is this happening to me? It doesn't work. I get back to Christians don't just get diseases and die, they also can be murdered, so. And that was a fucking senseless murder. She was this young woman. Her husband adored her. Brutally murdered in her own home. She was home and there was a robbery or something. That ridiculous, sick bullshit. go back to her old church, since that church I told you, so-called Christian friends or whatever, that church rejected her. I was hurting for her because I know she needs that. You know what I mean? She needs that in her life. I don't want her to be unhappy, and then I hurt, you know, hurt even more than usual. Anything I can do to make it better for her. So, tonight was second half. Last time I had said tomorrow I made a mistake. I'm talking about the second half of the group of the 12 that gets cut down to 7. I made a mistake and said tomorrow they're going to do the next group of 12. I meant to say next week. So it's next week arrived, and it was on tonight, and phenomenal singers. I already know one that's probably, I believe, is going to be cut, but you just never know. I thought that they would cut Johnny, and they didn't. At this point, if everyone's singing great, it becomes who the judges want to pick, or who they think has a chance of being American Idol, because they have to look at other stuff if everyone's such a great singer. But the football player, they didn't think did a very good job. He's still a great singer. It's just they're all great singers. They wouldn't have made it to the top 24. I find it interesting that one from the Congo, Ron, whatever his name is that his name? He was one that was told he didn't get the ticket to Hollywood, and then they decided to bring him back. But it's still, Lionel Richie just changed his vote, but he was still he didn't get 3 votes, you know, he had 2. And then he makes it all the way to the top 24. I'm like, wow. I wasn't really paying attention to that, because I hadn't seen that he was on that first episode that I recently watched. I hadn't seen it. I listened to part of it when I was doing something else, but then I actually watched it. So he had a great story, but he's not as good a singer as the others. But, I don't know. The drag queen, that's never happened in the history of American Idol. And she, this drag queen Ada, is fucking fantastic. Fantastic. I believe that she will make it to the top 20. She's fantastic. She tried out for American Idol 13 times. But she never tried out as the drag queen. The guy tried out. But, you know, perseverance. Now he's in, she's in, whatever. She is in the top 24. And it looks like, I believe it, that she's going to make it to the top 14. I truly believe that. That one from the Congo, let's see. I mean, he's good, but not as good as the others. I don't see him as the American. The one I told you that he didn't want to repeat the pattern. He took his drug addict sister's son, and he's raising. He's a young guy, and he took the baby at 6 weeks old, and is raising him as his own son. I like him. He was crying. He is very, very vulnerable. He was crying. He's a phenomenal singer too. Like I said, I don't envy these judges. But I told you they don't hear all 24 and take the top 14. They don't do it that way. They don't do it that way. That would be the most fair thing, the fairest thing to do. They don't. They did the first 12 and they cut it down to 7, and then they did the next 12, cut it down to 7, and I don't even know if it was random who was in the first 12 and who was in the second. Because in the end, this is a show, and they want ratings, and it's highly likely that they just picked whoever they wanted to be in the first 12 and the second 12. You have to suck it up, you know. They're not worried about it being super, super fair. It was super fair, it'd be totally random who was chosen in the first 12 and who was chosen in the second. They're totally random. And also, they wouldn't pick out, they would just pick out 10 from the 24 after they'd heard all 24. Then they'd get rid of 10. They don't do it like that. It's very different. But the people who create the show can do whatever the fuck they please, as we've already established. So. But that makes it fixed in a way. If the judges, because they know right off the bat in that top 24 who is absolutely outstanding. You know what I mean? They really do. So they could intentionally put certain weaker ones and certain stronger ones in the first group of 12, and you know, the same thing in the second group. If it's not random, if they don't draw straws, then it's just somebody's picking who goes in the first group of 12 and who goes in the second. So don't think this competition is like 100% just totally fair, because it isn't. But I know when they picked Johnny and that other one, that, because I didn't do that great in predicting. Remember, I was predicting. I'll do the same thing again tomorrow night. I'll predict who I think they're going to choose, but I didn't do that great in predicting the last time, because I don't think they actually chose necessarily the best singers. No. I don't think Johnny's the best singer out of that compared to others that were let go in that first group of 12, so they're looking for something else. Oh, okay. The fact is, they reached the top 24. They're all fantastic. You know, some are better than others, but they beat out, and the judges have to pick. They have to get rid of 5 from each group of 12. So, but they get 2 chances, because they did solo tonight, and then tomorrow night they do duets, just like the last group. And then it's out of the judges' hands. I remember when I used to watch this show, one year I was pissed. I wasn't the only one pissed either, because the audience voted off like absolutely incredible and kept someone I just didn't think should even have made it to the top 10 in the first place. You know what I mean? The person wasn't that great. I don't know how they got that far. And then the audience is voting off. I forget what it was. I remember I was so pissed, though. Oh, I think it was an African black girl, black woman, that nobody could believe she got voted off, and this other person stayed. And but she went on, I think, to do great things. She went on to do acting. I think she went on to do a whole bunch of things. So it turned out all right, but I know I was a little pissed that, because it made no sense, but it fits the audience's hands, you know. That was many, many years ago, but I remember, I can't remember her name, but I do remember that I wasn't the only one floored that the audience sent her home and kept somebody who just was not that great at all. And there was one year I thought somebody was terrible, and I didn't think they were that great at all, and they made it so far up the competition. That's why I say there's a lot of people that slip through the cracks that are better probably than the people who get up into the top 24 or top whatever. I never would even watch this. I start watching with my mom, and then she goes back to her apartment and doesn't continue watching it anyway. Watch the show, but now I'm hooked. Some of them really do blow me away. They are just as good, if not better, than the people in this life who have already made it, just already have become super, like, successful or stars or whatever you want to call it, okay? These singers who get up this, they are that good. They're just as good. Okay, so I think the football player is going home. I think they weren't that thrilled with the solo performance of the country croon. What's his name? Cable, or I can't think of his name. I don't remember his name, but I think he might be going. There's two easy ones for me. Maddie, I think Maddie might be going. She doesn't, usually they'll say, I want to be the next American Idol. She didn't say that. She told the mentors, like, I just want to make the top 24. I don't see her as the next. I think she'll be going. I think Maddie Pope will be going. Whoever that football player is will be going. And the country guy will be going. Those three. I think the guy from the Congo will be going too. To get rid of 5. Again, I don't necessarily believe they keep the best singers. They choose into their 7. At this point, it's also who they've conceived of being the next American Idol. Yeah, I don't think that they actually are. I think they try to have equal guys and girls. I don't think it's as fair as somebody might like to imagine it being. But it's pretty close. Some of them that got up there were ones that the judges liked, and I mean, from the very, very first editions, you know, the very beginning. We'll see if I do better at predicting. Maybe not. It's early. I didn't watch the news. Marathon today was miserable. Marathon Monday tomorrow is supposed to be miserable. Goes without saying, I did not watch the Comey interview. Not interested. Not interested. Don't know. There could be some truth. I don't believe there's total truth to what he's saying. Could be some truth. He also takes pot shots. So I just, you know, I don't know. I can't take everything that Kobe says too seriously, considering he's definitely better, you know, when he was. The way he was treated by the president in his eyes. So he definitely has a agenda. He definitely has a grudge against Trump. In light of that, you can't really take everything he says too seriously. But there definitely could be inklings of truth and mixed in with probably lies and half-truths. Exaggerations, I don't know. I'm just not interested. I was definitely interested in watching the Stormy Daniels interview, but that also didn't take up the whole time. Comey thing's a whole full hour, too. I wasn't going to watch. Believe me, the shows I do watch, they'll give highlights of it. They already were giving previews of it. They were already telling us different tidbits, telling us what he said. That they showed parts of the interviews. I'm sure my local news station, China Nation, World News Tonight, they'll all be giving you bits and pieces of the Comey interview after it's over, which was on last night. Or tonight, I don't think it's midnight yet. You know what I mean? I have no interest in watching that. particularly when there's no way for me to know if what Comey's saying, what's true, what's not true, what's partially true, what's outright fabrication, what's exaggerated. You know, there's no way for me to know that, so I don't want to watch it. Don't want to watch it. Like I said, the news shows I do watch, believe me, they'll be giving highlights of the Comey interview. Gave him an opening to call me. He didn't do it. So I was going to call him last night, and I didn't want to. I was drained after going to that wake and meeting strangers, meeting the family of this guy. He was just something you could count on around here. We'll miss him. Always friendly. Miss him. It's definitely memorable. That's why one of his kids said to me, I never met the person, said, no, thank you. It means a lot for you to say that about my dad. I said, oh, I say the truth. I have no reason to lie, you know. Nothing in it for me to lie. It's the truth. That's why I didn't have time to put on proper funeral or wake attire and just came here in my sneakers and my jeans and my, you know, I just found out about this last minute. And I got to the wake at the last minute because my friend drove for me. Time, I didn't know. But it's a given when, you know, I'm going to be thinking of my own elderly mom, you know. I worry about my friend down the street, too, who doesn't have the best habits, shall we say, when it comes to her health. She's sharp as a tack and still driving and whatnot. Unlike the case with my mom. I'm glad I got to go to that. I was glad. Found out about an accident, and I was glad that I got to go. I met his wife, but I hadn't met anyone else in his family. The ones I met were nice. They appreciated my genuine compliments of their dad, but it was genuine, it's true. I mean, I could have told them, you know, I wouldn't say I say it on YouTube, but I've told people in my life about your dad. He's just the nicest guy, you know. I asked him, do you remember him? She couldn't, at first she's like, oh yeah, I remember him. He has a little dog who's, I says the dog, I asked his wife, is the dog still alive? And she's like, yeah, deaf and blind and gonna be 17. Like, yeah, my Omar is 11 and he's blind. love my own work too. That I could be literally had been just crying and be just heartbroken, just in agony with my mom. And along would come this guy with a smile on his face and, you know, always friendly and I was counting on that. It never changed. Apparently going to be fierce for the runners. It's going to come in their faces. According to my local newscasters, the wind is going to be coming in that direction that they're running. It's going to come in their faces. It's not going to be pleasant for them. I couldn't believe when I looked out the window. The snow. I had the shade because I needed light because I was trying to figure out the DVD player. It turned out the cord that I needed, I didn't have to go find it. It was already still attached to the TV. I was telling my mom that, yeah, when your cunt sister came here and got the cable boxes and went on it, they unhooked the DVD player. You know what I mean? Didn't take the cord that's supposed to be with it, but took the DVD player, didn't take the remote. You know, it's like, what the fuck, why didn't you leave me the DVD player? I could have a DVD, you know. In the end, my mom couldn't use it anyway. I could have had it, you know, and have to have cable to watch DVDs, you know. Ridiculous, but again, it was her exerting her authority. She could come here and there and take whatever she wanted. And I knew she didn't take the remote. I tried to leave it for her. And she was pissed. She did. Oh no, that was right. I wouldn't leave her the cable box. I made her come back for it to make sure she left me my keys. Because of what had happened with the keys before. That time she was supposed to leave them out there. Instead she took them. That's when I left stuff out in the shed. I left the cable box, but I left it. She just got the cable box. She had taken that DVD player. Didn't have to do that. Anyway. And then it doesn't even take the remote that I left her because that's why she was pissed about what had happened. Left a nasty note for her on the door. I'm not elaborating, it's old news, I'm just saying that it just made no sense that she took the fucking DVD player. She didn't take the friggin' remote for it. Mom was never going to use it anyway. And then Mom wanted getting a DVD player for Christmas for it. Now it has kids. I don't particularly like the one, but overcome it. Overcome the cancer. I might not particularly care for her, but she is my mom's longtime friend. Would read. She can't run in. I do know her. Sad. Tons of people get cancer. Tons of people die from cancer. Tons of people beat cancer and then the cancer comes back. Made my mom her favorite, which is also my favorite, by the way, but can't have it. Used to just have it once a year, and now I had it relatively recently, not that long ago, for my mom, and now I just had it again. It said, "No more, Mom. You're welcome to come here, but I'm not making this dish anymore. It's just too fucking fattening. Above and beyond fattening. It's stuffed shells. Okay? Stuffed organic shells with sauce and then a shitload of Parmesan. Okay? And then we put sour cream on it to make it extra decadent. And we eat a half package each. That's 5 each. And it's fucking heavenly. It's delicious. It's like, you know, I don't want to be eating like that. So good. You know, we had avocado, olive oil, avocado spices on toast on the Ezekiel flax bread. That was delicious too. Told me she's at least been eating that meal I made for her. Again, she won't make healthy meals for herself. She doesn't know how. But if I make them for her and put them in containers, I gave her all my plastic containers, just about all of them, then I'm getting her to eat healthy. And I'm not forcing her to eat shitty tasting stuff that she wouldn't otherwise eat. She loves the meals I make. See? We still have cheese. You could put sour cream on it, but at least she's getting the beans and the greens, the mushrooms. You know. What do you mean? It's way healthier than she'd be eating on her own. She's fending for herself. She's just gonna have like a tuna fish sandwich or macaroni and cheese, or you know what I mean. Plan on cooking for her like I did last week every week, putting it into containers, and then I'm guaranteed that she's at least eating healthy, you know, those healthy meals, you know. It's something. Something I can do for her that helps her and gives me more peace of mind, you know. But I haven't solved, and I haven't come up with a solution to get her to drink the proper amount of fluids. And when I see her not drinking here unless I give it to her, it means that's what she's doing at home. She's dehydrating herself every day. You go all day long with 1 cup of water, you're dehydrating yourself, and I try to stress to her how unhealthy it is. I've been stressing to her that forever, for years. especially with those psych meds she takes. It's so important. Even when the home nurse came here, she was saying that wasn't the third bitch. That wasn't the third nurse, the bitch who called the police and officer. This was the very first one. But she stressed my mom. She stressed my mom anyway. And I said, oh, thank you, you're backing up. But I always try to tell her how important it is to drink plenty of fluids. Drink plenty of water. Alright, but drink plenty of fluids, because even if it's not water, it should be a lot of water, but plenty of fluids to flush out the toxins, the psych meds, the poisons, to flush, you know what I mean? I think she just forgets. She's not able to remember to drink the water. Part of her, she told me she doesn't want to have to pee. Like, you can't not drink fluids just because you don't want to have to pee. It's just not rational. It's ridiculous. We all have to drink fluids, and we all are going to have to pee as a result. It's how it has to be. Because if you don't, it's not good, Mom. It's so important. You cannot stress the importance enough. You cannot stress enough the importance, people, of all of us, everybody drinking enough fluids every day. But especially if you're on medication, especially if you're on the psych meds. It says it in the inserts say, the things you get says, drink plenty of fluids. It's so important. And she doesn't do it. She doesn't. If she's not thirsty, she thinks that she doesn't have to drink. She can't comprehend the fact that she loses sense of thirst the older you get, even though the nurse backed me up and told her that. And she doesn't want to have to pee. She just, we can only do so much, you know. When it comes to her eating, if she eat whatever the fuck you want. If I'm going to cook you meals, though, I'm going to cook you nice, healthy meals. The same kind of shit I cook you when you're here. Cook for you when you're here, the same kind of shit that I eat, okay? It's not bland. It had cheese in it, you know. But at least it's beans and greens. You know, it's beans and vegetables and mushrooms. So you can have cheese and you can put sour cream on it, but you're at least getting the beans, the vegetables, you know what I mean? That's important. I haven't come up with a solution on for her to remember to drink enough either water or something else, fluids, every day. Just want her to drink the bare minimum. In her eyes, that's too much. Important it is, and I'm backed up by the medical people, and I'm backed up even by the things that come with the psych meds. It says right on it, drink plenty of fluids while taking this medication. You know what I mean? I came in here early and I created this video to get stuff off my chest. I don't sleep very